Some other big news from the sports world tonight. Horse trainer Bob Baffert has now been formally suspended for 2 years by Churchill Downs after a second drug test of a Kentucky Derby winner, Medina Spirit, did indeed confirm the presence of a steroid in the horse's system. Joining us live to talk about what that exactly means for Baffert, the horse, and the whole horse racing world, including whether Medina Spirit could be disqualified from its victory, is Joe Bianca, editor of the Thoroughbred Daily News. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Were you surprised by this suspension from Churchill Downs today? And do you think kind of a repealing of the Derby victory is what's to follow?
I wasn't necessarily surprised because they had banned him indefinitely when the first positive test came in. And Churchill Downs cares more than anything about their Kentucky Derby brand. And I think that they felt that he had embarrassed the Kentucky Derby brand. So that wasn't necessarily surprising to me. And, it's going to have longstanding consequences for him going forward. He is known as being the most decorated Kentucky Derby trainer in America. And for him to not be able to run horses in the Derby for a couple of years is a big deal.
He also does have a pretty checkered past, though, in terms of violations. I think 30 or so over the span of his career, and 5 just in the last 13 months.
Yeah, and this individual incident may not have been a huge deal. Like, I don't think that the 25 picograms or whatever it was over the threshold made Medina Spirit win the Kentucky Derby. A lot of people are saying it's a performance enhancing thing. I'm not sure about that, but this is kind of a makeup call, I feel like, for all of the stuff that he's gotten away with over the years. And he's pushed the limits a lot for decades now. This is kind of the chickens coming home to roost for Bob Baffert, I think.
Wow, really interesting. How's he responding tonight, he and his team?
A lot of legal challenges. There's going to be legal challenges going forward. I think they're going to try to tie this up for 6 months or a year or a couple of years, as long as they can, to try to get it out of the headlines. But I think ultimately they're going to be unsuccessful because both tests came back positive. And at the end of the day, he broke a rule and the horse needs to be disqualified, whether or not there were mitigating circumstances or there was contamination. The horse deserves to be DQ'd, and he can put up all the legal fights he wants, and all his lawyers can make all the excuses they want. At the end of the day, he broke the rules. The horse is going to be DQ'd, and this is going to be on his legacy forever.
And what do you think about his general defense, which is that it wasn't an injection of the steroid? It got into the horse because they were using some kind of ointment on an injury, and that's how it got into the horse's system, meaning it was medical, not as some kind of cheating advantage.
I mean, that may well be true. I'm not privy to what the horse has been treated with all this time. But again, it's beside the point. The rule was broken. The rules are in place for a reason. And he has had these kind of second, third, fifth, 10th, 30th chances along the way to play by the rules, and he hasn't been able to do it. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the circumstances were that led to the horse failing the test. The horse failed the test. He was over the limit and the threshold. He's got to be DQ'd. He can make all the excuses as he wants, but especially now with horse racing kind of being in flux, I think the era of excuses is over.
And last question here. We've seen what Churchill Downs did today. Do you think that other moves follow in terms of the other 2 parts of the Triple Crown?
Well, yeah, actually, the New York Racing Association, which runs Belmont Park, had indefinitely suspended him already after the Kentucky Derby result first came out, after the first positive test. The last domino to fall is the Stronach Group, which runs racetracks in California and runs Pimlico, which is where the Preakness is run. They're kind of the last ones standing here to have not come out strongly and suspended him. And I think it's only a matter of time. This is going to continue to snowball for him, where there's going to be too much pressure on the industry and on groups within the industry to not suspend him or fine him or get rid of him indefinitely.
Career-ending moment here, possibly?
I'm not going to say career ending because he still has a lot of friends in the industry. He still has a lot of high powered people who I think are in his corner, but it's definitely, I think, a career defining moment for him. And I think this stain is going to be on him forever. So do I think he's going to go away from racing entirely? No, I don't think so. I think he's going to still train. He'll still win some big races, but this is going to stay with him until his grave, I think.
Joe, really appreciate your time. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Take care.